All right, so this one's gonna be a little bit more different than the stuff that I normally shoot, where I'm talking about t-shirts and music or whatever else. So to my left side, probably your right side, is my longtime friend Stres. You guys know him probably musically. We're pushing a bunch of merch right now, but that's not what this conversation is really gonna be about today. So most recently, I took a trip to the emergency room. I was having this major anxiety attack, or panic attack as some call them. And I've been battling with a lot of depression and things like that. So t-shirts and things make me feel at ease. You know, takes a lot of that time away from me being in my mind. He knows about it because I call him, quite often. He's dealing with something similar, has been for years. And so it's easy to talk to somebody when you have anxiety. I have had it for a long time, and I never understood why. It would just kind of happen out of the blue. I'd start sweating, I just couldn't keep it together. My mind was racing. I thought I was gonna die. I felt like I was having a heart attack, and I never understood why. And so, not that I was against medicine, but most recently I was prescribed something. So we're gonna see if it works. Something I definitely don't want to get hooked on, because those that know me know I don't take pills. But I do want to try something because I want to get out of my head. And so today I wanted to have this conversation with my good friend who deals with the same thing. And so we'll start it off right now, and hopefully by the end of this helps somebody, knowing that there are people like us out here that, even though we're putting on these smiley faces and whatever else, and you see us happy-go-lucky online, we do deal with a lot of mental things like that too. And it doesn't make you crazy because you have anxiety or depression or PTSD or whatever. And there are tools to help you deal with that. So my mans, tell me how long you've been dealing with it, what you're doing to take care of it. And what is it that you feel? What can we do to help them with people that are dealing with the same thing?
Well, with me, the first time I did this on my Instagram before, I was like giving my story, like a little short thing about it. But the first time I had a panic attack, I was like leaving my son's mom's house, and her and my son were there, and I was just about to go home because I was visiting my son, but I was about to go home. But when I'm walking to my car, I start getting this weird feeling. I'm like this super, like you're about to fight at high school type feeling. I start getting that feeling.
Fight or flight reaction, they call it, right?
And I'm about to get in the car. Then I was like, why am I leaving? So I started walking to go back and went in the garage and started to go up. And I was like, man, I feel hella weird. It's just like this weird ass feeling. I didn't know what it was, because I never had one before. And I started walking up the stairs, and then I just couldn't walk, and I just fell. And I was like, oh shit, I think I'm having a heart attack or some shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, I couldn't feel my hands, and my hands was getting numb, and my feet were getting numb. So I told my baby mom, like, hey, call the ambulance. She was like, what's wrong? What do I tell them? I'm like, I don't know, just tell them to come. Right. So boom, they come. They do all my vital signs, all this shit. I went downstairs, and they was like, did you do any kind of drugs? And I'm like, nah, not today.
Like the first thing they ask you.
Well, they were like, did you do any coke or do anything? I'm like, nah, not today. I didn't do nothing. And then they were like, you have any energy drinks and shit? And I was like, yeah, I did have some coffee and energy drinks or whatever. And then they were like, you're totally fine. I was like, I don't feel fine. So they took me in the ambulance. I went to the emergency room, sat there for hella long, and then they gave me some shit in the IV, and it calmed me down. And that's when I found out. They were like, oh, I think you had a panic attack. And I was like, what the fuck? Like a panic attack? And they were like, yeah. So, and then right after that, 2 days after that, I drank a cup of coffee, and I did the same thing. I couldn't feel my hands. I fell to the ground. Yep. And then I had to go to the emergency room again. And then they were like, oh, don't drink any caffeine. But before that, I was in there. They're taking all kind of scans of my brain, all kind of shit. And I'm like, what is that? And they were just like, it's a panic attack. So I know what helps me. I had one not too long ago, but what really helps is exercise, no caffeine. You got to cut the caffeine all the way out.
Which is so hard to do.
And sleep. You have to sleep, dude. I don't sleep that many hours. I sleep like anybody that follows me on Instagram. By the time you get up, I've been up for like 6 or 7 hours already. So I only sleep a couple of hours because my mind's always racing. I always got I'm recording, or I'm like doing stuff on my computer, or like making artwork, doing stuff for merch. But you have to sleep. You can't. You got to eat better, and that caffeine is the killer. The caffeine is what's making people. That's what's making it. All the Starbucks and all these Red Bulls and all that. That's what's really starting it. But I know as soon as I start to have one, I read somewhere or seen it somewhere they like start exercising.
Yeah.
I started to have one. I got on the exercise bike, started riding the exercise bike, and it starts to go away. But it's a trip. People think that it's a. I thought it was funny before. I used to be like, what did you talk? A panic attack? Like I didn't even know. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But once you start having them, and you really have one, and you feel like it feels like you're dying. Like, it's over.
I thought I was having a heart attack.
It's over. It feels like it's over. Yeah. Like this is the last. Okay, I'm about to start saying goodbye because that's how I thought. Yeah, I'm like, shit. I'm having a heart attack. It's over.
Yeah.
But
now, for me at least, not that I was against it, but I have this addictive personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, being a recover from years ago, you know, I don't touch any alcohol. I don't touch anything at all whatsoever, and I'm the same way with pills.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I was like, I'm not taking any pills, man. You know, and you know, you were one of the folks that were like, man, just at least give it a shot.
Yeah. If
it's too strong, back off. If it's not, you know, and so I talked to a few people, you know, these past few weeks that are dealing with the same thing, and one of them is absolutely against medication for it. What do you think about the medications that, you know, they try to prescribe you? Has it done good for you?
Pretty much, depending on, it's like case to case, depending on how your body is, and because they'll try to prescribe you whatever,
right?
Because they're trying to get money. They're really trying to get paid, so. Right. They're going to prescribe you 10 different things, you know what I mean? They're going to try to prescribe you anything, but it's whatever works for you. You know, a lot of the medications make you feel like you either want to go to sleep or they make you feel like a zombie.
Right, like, which is what I felt 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. They make you feel like a zombie. Xanax makes you feel, you know, it makes you feel cool.
Right.
But you can't do nothing. Like, you can't, like, I can't take 2-3 Xans and record some songs.
Right,
I can take maybe one.
Right.
And then, you know, I don't know, like, I mean, I get it. All these people talking about it in the songs and all that. And I'm like, I don't know how. I mean, there's no way you're taking a gang of Xans and recording. And if you are, maybe they are. But I can't see how you do
That's
it.
That's that younger generation. They can do stuff I know I can't.
I mean, I could do it, but it's not going to be... It's not going to be my full potential. I could probably take one. I'm not going to take 2 or 3 and then try to record. I'll fall asleep. Right. But it does. I feel like it dulls it. It dulls it dulls the feeling. But it dulls you as it dulls your personality too.
Which is what I'm afraid of. I can honestly, the only side effects I have felt the past couple days is, and mind you, I'm on like 10 milligrams. They gave me. I can't think of the name right now. It'll come to me in just a little bit. So I got 10 milligrams of it. So I definitely don't want to do any more than that. So the past couple nights, not that I haven't been myself, I'll get in here and I start, working on pressing stuff, and I don't even realize how, not that I'm going any faster. Yeah. But I'm not even thinking about it. I'm pressing all the way through. Then I can't wake up the next day. The past 2 nights I have not been able to get up. I literally slept from the moment I opened my eyes in the morning yesterday to this morning. I could not wake up. So I don't like that effect, and I'm hoping it passes. If it doesn't, then I gotta think of something else.
Yeah, some of that stuff is like it's like taking a sleeping, really sleeping medicine, dude. Yeah. And it's like I can't mess with the groggy feeling the next day. Like, I can't mess with that because I got so much stuff to do. Right. And then they're gonna prescribe you something that makes you up. Right. You know what I mean? I don't want that either. I'm cool. I'm not trying to go up and down. They'll be like, oh, let's prescribe you a sleeping med. That's what the lady was like. I'll prescribe you some sleeping medication. Right. And I'm like, all right. And then we'll prescribe you Xanax. Right. Then, what? Oh, is your stomach hurt? Oh, we can do. They didn't say that, but I'm just saying they want to prescribe something to cure something, to mess with something else. I'm like, dude, right. I just need one thing. Like, all those, it's too many pills, dude, and they're doing that to people, and all, like, a lot of these kids, they're just giving them medication, and they're just like, huh. And that's all. That's how these pill companies are making all this money, and the doctors is making the money.
Yeah.
But
I know for me, I think I know what triggers mine because I've had it for so long. Of course, mine is a form of what they're calling PTSD, right? Now, mind you, go seek professional, counsel or professional opinion. This is just our experience. But I have a lot of friends that are military people, and I even had this conversation with one of my friends. I was like, well, PTSD is only a military thing. That's actually incorrect. Post-traumatic stress disorder, right? So I deal with a lot of stuff that go back as far as my childhood, and I know that's what brings on my anxiety. I get in my head and I start to think like, well, why wasn't my life like this? And my parents could have done this, or I should have done that, or all the heartbreaks and things that have happened in my life. And then I had a career in boxing, and I blew that because of a heart issue due to taking drugs. And so sometimes I'll get in my head about that. I'm like, man, like I blew all these opportunities, and I know that's what's triggering my anxieties and depressions and stuff like that. But I was afraid for a very long time to speak to somebody about it because I thought it made me less of a man. So I can honestly say from my experience, I waited way too long. I probably should have talked to somebody sooner. There were points in my life, I'm not sure if you've reached this point, but for those that have, where I can show you on my wrist, you can probably see them, but I tried to commit suicide as a teenager. It didn't work. I cut it, but I guess I didn't cut it. You got to go straight down. I'm not teaching you how to cut your wrist or anything, but it didn't work for me. That was one of the attempts. Actually, a couple times I've tried due to what I'm dealing with, and I never went to seek any help. I thought I was crazy. And then for me, at least, I was with somebody at that time who thought I was crazy, who thought it was stupid. So if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, and, whatever else it is, understand that you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not stupid for talking to somebody. And there are plenty of people who are like me or stressed where you can tell somebody that you're dealing with it, and they might, because they don't understand, because they don't have it. So you got to seek someone that is professional in that matter, and don't wait, because it can lead to things that are worse than what you're dealing with. So for you, how do you cope with it today, and does it happen to you often now?
Panic attacks, not as often, like the depression and stuff. Like the music, to me, the music helps. So me making the music and then getting the response from the music I'm making, it helps. And for a long time, I wasn't putting it in my music.
Right.
But now I started putting it in my music, and then now I start seeing people from like all over the country reaching out like, man, I'm going through the same thing. Thank you. And I mean, one thing I want to say on here though is I'm dealing with the same thing. So I get it that the music is helping you, but there's a certain amount of people that are like will DM me things that is like a huge burden on my shoulder, where like some of the things it's like too much. So if I don't respond to you, my bad, I seen it, or I'll respond like praying hands or something, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't fix it. Like I'm trying to fix me. Right. I'm trying to help everybody I can, but some of the stuff that I'm getting is like, it's a little overwhelming. But I get it, and I feel y'all. But it's the music really helps, and I ride my bike a lot too. So
exercise,
getting some exercise, getting the endorphins going, all that stuff going, and it helps. That helps, and leaving the caffeine alone, dude. And
yeah,
that's pretty much it.
There was something interesting you said the other day in our conversation a few days ago when we talked, when I told you I just got back from the hospital. And I didn't even think about it until he had said this, where I was saying some of the things that trigger me that I'm trying to cope with is, you mentioned something about vintage things such as like cards and things like that. For me, I never realized till you said that. I gave it some thought where I don't know if it happens to you, but if it does, hey, remember, it's happening to me. You're not alone. So sometimes I'll listen to a song from like, I'm an 80s baby, right? So I'll listen to stuff from like the 80s, the 90s and things like that, or I watch a movie. I mean, I was in my feelings watching The Karate Kid, the Cobra Kai stuff, it really made me emotional because I feel like, man, I'm getting older and I miss a lot of those times. As bad as they were for me growing up in my home, just my childhood, I still miss those moments. And so there are a lot of things that trigger me. I mean, it could be, like you said, an old baseball card or, comic books or whatever else. Does that happen to you often too, or is that just something you thought, well, man, it could trigger people?
Well, yeah, off and on, depending on like what it is, or like or something like a bad moment that happened. Like you'll hear a song, or like, you know what I mean. There's definitely music and different things that pop up in my head, and I'm like, oh damn, I remember that, or I remember when that was happening, or
Right.
whatever, or like an old relationship, or like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of it I think comes from too, like sometimes when you might not be at where you want to be
Right,
in your
right,
life, and then you look at people that you went to school with, or you start looking at your friends, and you're like, damn, my friend has a wife, my friend has a house, my friend has all this stuff, and then you're like, well, this is me, and then I'm over here just doing this music, and is it working? Is it not working? And then it starts piling up. Then I start thinking about my friend's kid driving, and I'm like, damn, I wonder, hope they safe. Then you start thinking about, oh, my son got to go to school. Then I start thinking about my uncle, and then I start thinking about all these different things, and it just starts piling in your brain. And it's just like, you can't fix everything.
Yeah.
And
look, and this is crazy because it's not something we're gonna talk about. It's not the main focus. A lot of people know him musically, right? And he's recorded for and with so many,
You could Google it.
Yeah, you can Google StresMatic. And it's trippy that, mind you, I've known him for a long time. Aside from that, we both do music. I don't have a music relationship because he's my friend, it's my family, so I see him completely different than most. But it's a trip that, you never know who's dealing with it. And I get messages like that all the time too. And they're like, man, you look so happy. And I just want to, you're so, I am in a sense. But understand there are a lot of people out there like us, where you do see us smiling and whatever else, but you never know what someone's dealing with, inside. I mean, take Robin Williams, for instance. We talked about that too. And I know that he has some health issues and stuff like that, but he was one of the most amazing, most talented, comedians and actors we're ever going to see.
But when those lights go off,
oh my God,
when them lights go off and you at the house by yourself, it's a whole different ball game. He probably had all kind of demons, and you don't know what he was dealing with. You never know. He might have had to cut his whole family off.
Right.
He might just been in the house by himself.
Yeah.
And it's a trip when everybody's screaming your name and all this stuff is going on. It's cool, but when that stops, and it just, and your phone stops ringing and nobody's around, don't nobody want to hang out, all of a sudden there's just nobody, it just starts eating at your brain. It does. And you start hearing, it's not that I hear voices, I'm just saying, you start thinking different things. Right. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you. As we close out on this, I don't like to take too much of everybody's time, but again, I'm hoping that, we're helping in some way, whoever's going to see this. If you're feeling in any kind of way that panic, that anxiety, that depression, suicidal thoughts of hurting somebody, please seek some professional help. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. This is about you. It's not about anybody else. You're the only person in your head and the only person in your body. You're the only person that can, take that step to try to get some help. Nobody can do it for you. And so on closing, anything else you want to say to the folks that are listening to, Test of the Moment?
I mean, I just want to say, if you have anything going on with yourself, just try to seek help, try to pray, really pray too. And, reach out to somebody. Don't just stay to yourself. That's all I really got to say.
All right. Well, that's my boy, my fam, my brother, Stres Matic. Where can they find you at? Musically, merchandise. You see we're pushing merchandise like crazy. Man. Where can they find you?
Instagram at StresMatic. Matic. StresMatic. If I spelled it right. On Instagram. Find me. I'll follow you back.
There you go. Yeah. And he, like you said, he may not always reply to you. He sees it though.
I see it. Sometimes those heavy messages on. Sometimes I have to hold on.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. You have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, don't be afraid to seek some help if you need it.
Thank you.